Hey, vinyl community and Beatles fans. So tonight I wanted to do a video where I take on anybody who wants to suggest that Magical Mystery Tour is a better album than Sgt. Pepper. And yes, there are people out there, maybe somebody watching this video, who wants to suggest to me that Magical Mystery Tour is a better album than Sgt. Pepper. Now, I want to give a full disclaimer. First of all, I am drinking. Second of all, because I'm drinking, I forget the point I was going to make right now. I forgot what the second thing was. So if you will bear with me for a minute. Okay, I remember what it was now. Okay. I'm gonna shit on Magical Mystery Tour for a little bit, but I love this album. I really do. I am sorry if I'm gonna hurt some feelings talking about this album. Don't get me wrong, I love this album. I remember the day I bought this album, going to the mall with my mom and being so excited to pick this album up. Now, mind you, it was a different time. It was before Spotify. It was before Napster. It was before you could have any album you wanted at your fingertips. You actually had to save up the money and you had to go buy the goddamn album. It wasn't just available on your smartphone. We didn't have smartphones back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. So anyway, I remember the point being, I remember the day I went to the mall and I picked this album up, and I too thought this was the greatest album ever. Love Magical Mystery Tour, love I Am the Walrus, love Strawberry Fields Forever, love Penny Lane. Okay, and something you need to know, if you didn't know already, the only reason Strawberry Fields Forever, the Penny Lane single, is on here is because in the UK, this album came out as an EP. And Capitol Records in America very wisely said, we don't do EP shit here. We do full albums. So if all you're going to give us is an EP's worth of material, then Beatles, we're going to take your singles and your B-side, whatever stuff you have laying around, and we're going to make a full album out of this. So to be fair, this really is only an EP's worth of material. Capitol Records stuck the Hello Goodbye. Hello Goodbye was a single, and I Am the Walrus was the B-side, which I Am the Walrus is a part of the film soundtrack, so it makes sense why it's on side A. But they're like, what are we going to do with Hello Goodbye? I know, somebody at Capitol Records, I know, we'll put it on the full album of Magical Mystery Tour, and I'm okay with that. And then you've got Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane, which was a single back in, I think, February of 1967. We'll stick that on here. And then Baby You're a Rich Man, which was a B-side of All You Need Is Love. We'll stick that whole single on here. Bam! We got ourselves an album. Even with that said, and I maintain to this day, Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane is the greatest single that has ever been released in the entire history of the world. And you can fight me on it. I am ready. You come over here, I will kick your ass. And I still maintain Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane is an awesome single. That being said, I am still going to say Sgt. Pepper is the better album. Now, why, Jeff? Why? And some of you are going to be like, yeah, I totally agree. Sgt. Pepper kicks Magical Mystery Tour's ass. And some of you are going to be like, you're out of line. No, it doesn't. Tell me why. Okay, well, that's what this video is all about. I am going to tell you why. Why is Magical Mystery Tour a weaker album? Well, let's not phrase it as a negative. Why is Sgt. Pepper a better album than Magical Mystery Tour? Now, keep in mind, everything I say from here on out, number one, and number two, I love both these albums. I'm a Beatles fan, okay? I do. But in order to make this argument, I'm going to have to take a couple of pot shots at Magical Mystery Tour, okay? So why do I think Sgt. Pepper is a better album? Well, to start out with, let's take it in the context of the middle of the 1960s when I'm going to go out on a limb and say many of you who are watching this video were not around. I wasn't around in 1966 and 1967. Well, who are you to say contextually why Sgt. Pepper? Okay, I have lived most of my adult life, and I'm not proud of this fact, but I have been a Beatles scholar since the age of 10, and I've read a lot about what it was like to be alive in 1966 and 1967. So keep in mind, Revolver, okay, and the Beatles, starting with, I will say, Rubber Soul, were always at the forefront of popular music. What is the new sound? Well, if you're wondering, in the mid-60s, if you were wondering what's the new sound, that was going to be predicated on how did the new Beatles album sound. So Rubber Soul, groundbreaking in many ways. And then Revolver came out, blew everybody's mind. You had Eleanor Rigby on there. You had Love You Too, which was the first album strictly based on an Indian raga. You had Tomorrow Never Knows, which blew everybody's mind. Nothing sounded like that coming out in 1966. So if you're a Beatles fan or popular music fan for that matter, and yes, I am very much aware that Pet Sounds came out in 1966, and so people were also looking at Brian Wilson and saying, what's the new sound? But ultimately, the band at the top of the mountain was the Beatles. And with every album, the Beatles were breaking new ground. Rubber Soul, groundbreaking. Revolver, groundbreaking. Sgt. Pepper, groundbreaking. This blew people's freaking minds when it came out. You've got, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. You've got She's Leaving Home, which was sort of all on the same vein as Eleanor Rigby. But the album, if there was a concept, and the Beatles will tell you this is not a concept album, but there was definitely a theme. This was an album of its time where you had teenagers who were at odds with their parents, and there was kind of that generational gap. And I think this album definitely spoke to it. I mean, if nothing else, you had a day in the life. And now, for most of us, we've always heard a day in the life. We grew up hearing a day in the life, but we've heard a lot of mind-blowing stuff throughout our growing up and whatnot. So a day in the life, when we first heard it, probably did not have the same impact as it did in 1967. But nonetheless, being for the benefit of Mr. Kite, I mean, there's so many reasons why this album was, as far as the 1960s go, this album blew a lot of people's minds. This album was innovative. And I know over time, this used to be Rolling Stone's #1 album of all time. And then the list came out, I don't know, a few years ago. And it has since been knocked down a couple of notches, which I disagree with. But I'm not here to argue the merits of Rolling Stone's latest top 200 albums or whatever the hell it was. We're here to talk about Sgt. Pepper versus Magical Mystery Tour. So this album, when it came out, I mean, there was a lot of new stuff on here that people hadn't heard before. Sgt. Pepper, you had the crowd noise, you had the segue right into A Little Help from My Friends, and then you had one of John Lennon's best compositions, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. You had Getting Better, Fixing a Hole, Within You Without You. Say what you will about George Harrison and his Indian-influenced tracks, but I can tell you I appreciate it a lot more than I did when I was growing up. And so this really, for me, is a top 3 Beatles album, but it was innovative. The point being, it was a leap from Revolver. And I'm not here to argue which is better, Revolver or Sgt. Pepper. I can do that video later, but right now I'm here to argue because I've heard people say, and I don't know if they're just trying to be contrary because everybody's all in Sgt. Pepper's corner. I know, Sgt. Pepper's so great. Well, I'm going to take a different view and I'm going to say Magical Mystery. Get out of here. Don't even come at me saying Magical Mystery Tour is a better album. And let's get into the reasons why. Okay, let's start with the title track. Magical Mystery Tour. Okay, you're going to put that up against Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. First of all, you've got the horns, the horn fanfare at the beginning. Heard that before in the Sgt. Pepper title track, okay? And one of the points that I'm going to make about this album is it's not innovative. Revolver to Sgt. Pepper, yeah, there was some innovation, there was some progression. From Sgt. Pepper to Magical Mystery Tour, no, not so much. So Magical Mystery Tour versus Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I am going to submit to you, Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band kicks Magical Mystery Tour's ass all day long. What's the next track? Fool on the Hill. I'm sorry, it is a Nowhere Man retread, a lot less interesting, not a big fan of the flute, all of it. It's just boring. I'm sorry. I would even put Fool on the Hill up against With a Little Help from My Friends. No contest, even though Ringo sings it. And I never thought I would ever say a Ringo track trumps a Paul McCartney track. And yes, it's a John Lennon, Paul McCartney composition that Ringo Starr sings. But all day long, With a Little Help from My Friends kicks Fool on the Hill's ass all over the schoolyard. Next track, Flying. It's an instrumental, a movie. I like Flying, I do, but you're going to put it up against Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds? I think no contest at all, okay? Next track is going to be Blue Jay Way, put up against Within You, Without You. Now, depending on your style of music, George Harrison's Indian Raga, Within You, Without You against Blue Jay Way, I still will take Within You, Without You. Blue Jay Way to me is just George saying, please don't be, for a long time. He says it like 80 goddamn times during the course of the song. It's got, it's interesting in the context of the movie. It works. It's weird. It's a little creepy, but like the lyrics themselves, there's a fog upon LA and my friends have lost their way. They'd be over soon, they said. Now they've lost themselves. And so basically, if you don't know the story behind this, George Harrison was in Los Angeles where Blue Jay Way is, and he was waiting for Derek Taylor and maybe some other friends to come. And he's sitting there bored. They didn't have smartphones back in the day, so he can't be checking his iPhone or texting or twittering or tweeting, whatever the hell it is. So what did you do back in the day when you didn't have a smartphone and you're waiting for somebody to arrive and they're late? You write a song about it. So fine, but as far as if you were to rank all of George Harrison's compositions while he was a Beatle, I think Blue Jay Way is going to rank somewhere near the bottom if you're being honest with yourself and if you're not just being contrary because you want to piss me off. But do not tell me that Blue Jay Way is a better song than Within You, Without You. And you can say, I don't like Within You, Without You. But if you don't like Within You, Without You, probably you don't like Blue Jay Way either. That's all I'm going to say about it. And I know you're going to say, but wait. The last track on this album is I Am the Walrus. Hey, I like I Am the Walrus. I get it. It is a great John Lennon composition. So, yeah, great song. Is it better than Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite? Yeah, probably in the context. So, yeah, I will give you that, okay? But as far as side one is concerned, new material on this album, Now, let's take a look at also Sgt. Pepper. So you got Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Great track, which segues right into With a Little Help from My Friends. Great track. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Again, like I said, one of John Lennon's best tracks. Then you got Getting Better, which is a fantastic Paul McCartney composition. You got John Lennon, who had some input in there as well. Great, solid track. Then you've got Fixing a Hole, which is another great McCartney composition. Love the guitar, so love everything about that track. Then you've got She's Leaving Home, which, yeah, it's reminiscent of Eleanor Rigby. Different subject matter, but still very sweet, tender song. Then you've got Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, which I consider to be one of John Lennon's most underrated compositions. And George Martin's composition in the middle, where you've got all that middle instrumental section, the end of it, where they took, and if you don't know already, what they did, that the end is the song is sort of, it's the instrumental piece at the end of the song. What they did is they took a pipe organ or whatever, they took this long recording of it and they chopped it into like 1 or 2 inch bits, threw it up in the air, and then pieced them all together. That's like the sound collage that you hear at the end of that track. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, listen to Revolver and then listen to Sgt. Pepper, just the progression from point A to point B. Now, is I Am the Walrus a significant progression? Okay, so let's, look at the beginning of it. I mean, it starts out as a fairly strictly, kind of a rock song. You've got some strings in it, which we've heard before. You've heard strings on a Beatles track. At the end, you've got some flourishes in there. You've got, of course, the Macbeth, all of that. I mean, it's a great John Lennon track. I'm not disparaging I Am the Walrus, but in terms of side A, okay, do not with a straight face tell me that side A of Magical Mystery Tour is better it's an IPA kind of morning. It's not morning. I'm sorry. Where was I? Do not tell me side A of Magical Mystery Tour is better than side A of Sgt. Pepper. You're just making yourself look ridiculous right now, okay? Sgt. Pepper's side A is definitely better than Magical Mystery Tour. So what about side B? Okay, Within You, Without You, which we've already talked about. You either love it or you hate it. You skip over it. Then we've got When I'm 64. Which song on Magical Mystery Tour sounds like When I'm 64? Well, your mother should know. So, let me ask you right now, are you going to tell me your mother should know La-di-da-di-da is better than When I'm 64? No, it is not. Get the hell out of here. If you were going to try to argue that Your Mother Should Know is better than When I'm 64. When I'm 64 was first. It's more sentimental. It's got more to recommend it than La-di-da-di-da in our white tuxedos. Let's descend down the stair. I'm sorry. Like, I did. Your Mother Should Know is not even in the same stratosphere as When I'm 64. Okay, and I know we're back to side A, but I'm telling you, you got Flying, Blue Jay Way, Your Mother Should Know in a row on side A, and you are going to sit there and tell me this is a better album than Sgt. Pepper. Get the hell out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. And yes, you are entitled to your opinion, but not that ridiculous opinion, okay? So let's talk about side B. I tried to, okay? So we've already said Within You, Without You. When I'm 64, Lovely Rita. Okay, now this is where side B, you could argue side B starts off way better on Magical Mystery Tour than it does on Sgt. Pepper if we're comparing sides, okay? Because yes, you got Hello Goodbye, but Hello Goodbye, I mean, it's kind of a saccharine, sugary, sweet Paul McCartney composition. Yeah, I grew up loving it. It's fine. Is it innovative? No. And that's the whole thing. The Beatles were always like pushing the envelope. Each album was a progression. This is not a progression from Sgt. Pepper. I'm sorry. I love this album. I do. You may think watching this video, this dude hates Magical Mystery. No, I don't. But I'm not going to sit here and abide by any conversation that says this album's better than Sgt. Pepper, okay? Because it's just not. Hello Goodbye, yeah, great A-side, good single, fine. And then we got the heavyweights, Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, which definitely buoy this album. If Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane were not on this album, a lot of you would think this album was a piece of shit. Let's be honest, okay? But the fact that Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane is on here definitely boosts this album's credibility, okay? I will give you that. However, those songs were recorded in late 1966. This album was released in December 1967. Yes, that single still holds up in late 1967, but is it really fair they stuck it on here? Oh, nonetheless, we're debating the merits of this album. So I will give you Strawberry Fields Forever is maybe better than anything on Sgt. Pepper. Fair enough. Is Penny Lane better than anything on Sgt. Pepper? Well, you could maybe argue, well, Getting Better is good, and you could say, well, She's Leaving Home. Penny Lane is a great track. Fine. You want to say it's better than anything on Sgt. Pepper? I'm okay with that. Great single, like I said. Then you got Baby, You're a Rich Man. Okay, now the nearest thing to Baby, You're a Rich Man is Good Morning, Good Morning. I would submit to you on Sgt. Pepper. I still think Good Morning, Good Morning is better. What is interesting about Baby, You're a Rich Man, aside from that weird, you know what I'm talking about, whatever the hell it is, it's that weird, whatever the hell that thing is on Baby. What besides that is innovative or something we hadn't heard? Like nothing. It's a fine track. It was a B-side, okay? If the Beatles wanted to put it on an album, they would have. They stuck it on the B-side of All You Need Is Love. So again, don't tell me that it's a better track than anything on Sgt. Pepper. And then we have All You Need Is Love. Is All You Need Is Love innovative? Was it something, woo, mind blown? No, it's like, it's sort of one of those like, all you need is, it's very much a utopian, wouldn't it be great if everybody just loved one another? And it's very naive. I mean, I love the sentiment about it. And yes, it's a great John Lennon composition, blah, blah, blah. Is it better than A Day in the Life? No, it is not, okay? So I'm going to say, even in spite of the inclusion of Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, Sgt. Pepper is still better. This did not break any new ground. The Beatles after Sgt. Pepper, and I'm not blaming the Beatles, like Sgt. Pepper, Revolver, Rubber Soul, even Help. Like that is a damn fine string of albums. So of course there was going to be like, well, shit, what are we supposed to come up with next? But I'm sorry, this is not like, woo. This is not the progression from Revolver to Sgt. Pepper or Rubber Soul to Revolver. It's just not. Like, it's fine. It's great pop music, but it's not what we had come to expect from the Beatles. And this video has gone on way too long. But hopefully I've made my point, okay? This is just a better album than this. Cheers, VC.